Hello, virtual village hallers. It's Kerry from Mobilates. I'm here for 30 minutes of gentle, seated, standing, lying, and a mix of all those things. So if you need to stay seated throughout, you can do. If you want to stand, if you want to lie, we can put all those things in. There's only so many positions I can do at the same time, but I'll try and cover them all. Right, I hope you've had a good week. The sun is coming through here. I'm welcoming it in. Let's get started. Sitting or standing with your feet a little wider, just so you feel like you've got a good secure base. You're not wobbling around. So it might look like this. You could sit right back in your chair. You might be sat on the edge of your bed, because that's a great way to do seated and then lying. I'm going to do this bit seated, I think. We're going to take a breath in. Nothing fancy, not deep, just an inhale. And an exhale. I'm going to do it again. Can you do it all through your nose? And then we're going to get started. So now if you're in the chair, come forwards a little. So you're on about the front third of your chair, and your legs are forwards at 90 degrees. Rest your hands and just feel, use your hands to feel your belly and your back, and just feel the shape of it. And if you're standing, it's the same. Feel the shape. We're often rounder at the front and we're either straight or dipping in at the back. So just get a feel for the shape. Now I want you to breathe in, but this time I want you to think about your side ribs going outwards as you breathe in. So rather than a sort of breath, it's a, and the ribs come out a little. So take that breath. And as you breathe out, pull your belly away from whatever your top is. So imagine that your top maybe is cold and wet and you're pulling it back. And feel your hand sort of dip down a little bit. Now breathe in. You can see my hand and my belly just drops down, goes down this way. It's often smaller than you think. Otherwise, the legs join in and make it bigger, and that's about the legs, and we're trying to move this low lumbar section of our back. If I change arms for seated, that might help as well. I'm just trying to give you all the different viewpoints. So just loosening up that bit. For some people, this bit gets so stiff, and if that is you, I'm sorry, but don't force it. Just take it nice and gently, and then have a little side to side wiggle, a little shimmy. Right, grow tall. So you can imagine that I'm pulling a thread, a hair, whatever you like. You're placing a crown on. Grow tall, bring your feet in a little closer, bit of a gap. You could put a book between them, like a paperback. And we're going to have a little side bend, just a little one. So it's more about this side opening up a little bit than how far does your hand go downwards. And this side, the same. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to keep your feet pressed downwards nice and evenly. Your bum, the sitting bones, the bumpy bit of your pelvis, pressing down evenly so it doesn't feel like this is happening. And one more each side. Keep breathing, by the way. Don't hold your breath for any of these. Have a little shake out. Tap the back of your head. Take that sensation back a little bit. Your face goes back with it. You might feel you've got an extra chin or two. Perfection. That's just what we want. And now let your head turn one way and the other. And then you can add a little nod to one side and a little nod to the other. Come back to the center. And then think about that sensation. I'm going to put mine back in. And I want you to draw a very gentle sort of arc shape, a bit like the shape a windscreen wiper makes when it's clearing a windscreen. And you're drawing that with the back of your head, and keep your face pointing forwards. It's almost like your chin is acting as a pivot here, and your face doesn't turn, doesn't do anything either way. It just stays facing forwards. It's just the back of your head moving. That's it. Back to the center. And give your shoulders just a little move backwards and forwards. Feel how they are today. So I'm keeping a little eye on the comments, see if anyone joins us. I can't see anyone in yet. I know there's been a few technical issues. I know you're there, so hiya. And now make your circles slower, bigger. You can always go for one side and then the other. It's a good idea if you've got anything going on with your shoulders, different things on each side, because then you can treat each one just as you need to. And you can see I'm going backwards, but I'm also putting in the odd forwards one. And then we're going to come down to our feet. Check they're facing forwards. Hello, Jackie. Someone is here. Thanks for joining me, Jackie. We're going to pedal our feet. So lifting one heel up and then the other. Now I've got black socks on and black bottoms. You can't see much. If I turn to the side, there, that's a better view. And just check the feet are pointing. They're forwards and they're sort of parallel. Now, if this is okay, and it might be smaller, it might look more like that. Can you swap mid-air? And take your time. I like doing this on a squishy mat because I like to feel my feet sort of squishing into it like sand. And if you're doing this seated, you could have your hands on your leg. You can lean forwards a little with a straight back if you want a bit more pressure going down your legs, or you might have your hands up here. That's it. Lovely. Now, going to give you a different move for sitting and standing. So if you're standing, I'd like you to slide down a wall and let your knees come forwards. And then we're going to start swinging your arms a little with that. One forwards, I would say placing them rather than swinging. Now, if you're doing this sitting, I'd like you to press down and release. So you can't see much happening, but I'm pushing downwards. I'm pushing down there and I'm letting go there. You can see I'm going slightly taller. Now you might get the odd bark coming through because our little dog has just come back from her 4 o'clock walk. She's very excited because she's going to have her tea. And if she's excited, she likes to tell us about it. So you might hear a little bit of Daffers just barking her happiness up through to upstairs. That's it. And now bring your legs closer together. If you're seated, they can go completely together. If you're standing, you can bring them a little closer as long as your balance is okay, or use something to the side of you. Now we're going to bring both heels up and then both arms up. So we're alternating. But you'll feel you need a little bit more going on in the core area. Those muscles are working a little harder. You might feel them pulling back, gentle tension. That's it. If you press into them beyond the jumpers and the tummy, you can feel it's a little bit firmer. And I like, well, inhale one bit and then exhale, feel it doesn't matter which way around. Lovely. And then let the arms come down, let the legs open, and start bringing an arm up towards the side of your head like you're doing a salute and growing tall with this. Now, if you can't get your arm up there, take it down to the side like you're waving at somebody. But you want to feel open across here. If you can get it right up like a salute and touch the side of your head, go for that. I knew I was going to do that. I'm going to catch the side of the chest of drawers. Right now, one hand, then the other, and keep them there. Keep growing tall. Press down into your feet if you're standing or sitting, and you'll also feel your sit bones if you're sitting. Now we're going to go for a side bend one way and a side bend the other. Don't think about how far that elbow is going down. Think about how much the other side is opening up. Now, if you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, especially for you, this grow tall and then this opening up rather than trying to go down there, that's more of a crushing. We don't want that. We want an opening, a lengthening. Lovely. And the hands can be lower. Might be out here is more comfortable for you, or your hands even on your chest and just feel open across your collarbone. Last one. And then gentle rotation. Take your time. Your chin stays over the center of your hands. And if everyone could put their hands in the center here, and if that's okay, and you feel that your hands could go a little higher and you could go back to this sort of salute, maybe your hands back slightly so they're more into your hair. But it's a gentle turn. We're not wringing ourselves out. We're not forcing it. You're just going to little turn one way, back to the center, little turn the other. And you can feel your hip bones facing forwards. If you're seated, your hip bones stay forwards. If you're standing, you have to consciously keep them there. And you might take the super small. Or another option is to let more of your body turn. So let your hips go with you. It's a choice you can make. And back to the center. And just let everything have a little wiggle. And then something a bit looser. We're going to take our elbows into the side. We're going to make this figure 8 shape with relaxed hands. That's it. Now make a bit more air under your arms. Take your legs wider. Feet can be outwards a little. It doesn't matter. And the first thing I'd like you to do is just lean back a little. Lean your chest upwards as you open the arms up. And that works for everybody. Now, if you want a bit more, you might lean back and then you might come forward. See, the bum goes back. And I'm going forwards initially with a straight back. That's generally safe for everybody. If you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, this is the one for you, and it works seated as well. If you haven't, and you like to curve your back and go through more movement with your spine, you might bend down and come up. So many things matter here. It depends if you get dizzy when your head goes down. If you do, keep it higher. That's it. You could always keep it just standing and do the arms and this little bit of chest movement when you open upwards, and then make it smaller and smaller, and bring the arms in at the sides and just give the sides a little rub with the inside of your arm, this inner area here against your ribs. That's it. Now your hands are facing forwards. If you're in the chair, come forwards on your chair a little bit, just a little away from the back. So this is my sort of relaxed place. We want the distance between the hands to stay the same. It's like you've got a parcel. Take a breath in, take it into your ribs here so they expand out to the sides, a bit like an accordion. And as you breathe out, I want you to keep your arms in against your sides. Feel it and nudge backwards. Now let them go forwards. Just relax that breath in again. And as you exhale, a nudge and a squeeze inwards and back, like you're nudging someone behind. And if you're in a chair, you might even be nudging the chair back. And one more. And then let go, give it a little shake. Now we're going to give a little bit of work, a little bit of rotation with the hips. So if you're standing, I'd like you to just move one knee around. This is the bit that's doing the moving. Trying to do a little circle with my knee. If I was doing this seated, I'll do the other leg. Just trying to circle the knee a little bit. So we're just warming up into the hip. I know it feels like the knee and the foot. It's like a bonus. So we've done both sides. Now, if you're seated, it's time to draw a circle with one foot. We'll do 3 or 4 one foot. And if you're standing, you might hold on to something, or you might have your arms out, or I like my hands on my hips. And I'm doing the same thing, either in the air with your leg bent, or that's more balancy, or standing with your foot grazing, swishing the floor, and then swap to the other side. So grow tall first. You try not to lean over or lean into anything that's supporting you. Just have your hand on it if you need it. A little circle. We're going outwards. That's it. And then give it a little wiggle. And now we're going to go inwards. Same thing. Keep everything else going forwards. Your arms could be out here if that's better. Always think of this as the wet washing arms. And then the other side. That's it. Brilliant. Give everything a little wiggle. And then we're going to roll down. So you might roll down if you're seated. You can do two versions. I always have the legs a bit wider for seated positions. Come forwards with your hands on your thighs and keep your back straight. Now it's almost like you're trying to tuck your bum under. It's like the pelvic tilt we did at the beginning, just the low back. This is for an osteoporosis, osteopenia safe way. And feel your belly pull back towards you. Now bring your hands and walk yourself up. You might go lower if that's comfortable, but you don't have to. But you can see that little bit of movement there. If I repeat it again, it's like rolling back on my bum and then the hands go up. Now the other way is to roll through your spine downwards. So you're just taking your spine down. I like to use my legs with my arms against it so I can feel where I'm going. Rolling down, keeping my head and my face is close to my body. I might stop here or I might go further if I can, if that's comfortable. And then I press against my legs and resist myself a little. Take a breath in. And as I breathe out, come up. And we'll do one of these standing as well. Arms out, palms out. And bring the head back a little. Chin dips down. And then it's like the head is rolling down the center line of the body. The knees can be soft. Let the weight go forwards. And as you breathe, and I would like you to breathe, breathe into your back and puff it up. And then as you exhale, use that breath to roll yourself up. Now we're going to take it down to the floor. I'm going to do a mix of floor and seated, and I'm going to use my sofa to help you. So take yourself downwards. And I shall see you down there. Oh, I've seen that Irene is with us as well. We can't always see all your comments at the moment for technical things, but Andrea, who's sorting all the technical stuff out today, has just let me know. Irene, nice to have you here. Right. So if you're going down to the floor, you can put a cushion under your head, get yourself super comfy. If you're in your chair, sit back in your chair. So your back is towards the back of the chair and your legs are in that L shape, that 90 degrees. And just give yourself a moment to settle. If you're lying down on a bed or on a mat, just check that your head is comfy. You might want something under your head. It's often something quite small. And then your shoulders can go right against whatever you're lying on. So your head might be a little bit raised, but your eyes then look up to the ceiling. And you could give your head a turn, whether you're lying down or seated. And you might give the back of your hips or your bum on the seat just a little wiggle. That's it. And then we'll have our hands somewhere around our bellies this time. We're going to breathe into the sides of our ribs, and also you notice the back, either against the chair, your back ribs, or against your mat. We're looking for a bit of expansion at the back and at the sides as you breathe in. So take a breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, we'll blow the breath out through our mouth. Feel the belly muscle start to tighten and then let everything tip towards you. It's like it's coming towards your ribs, your belly button. And then you might feel your lower back lower into the floor, into the back of the chair, or you might just feel that rolling action. As you breathe in, let it roll forwards again. Breathing out, rolling back. Breathing in, rolling forwards. It's the tummy muscles that power this. It's not your bum squeezing. Your bum stays nice and relaxed. Last one. And then let everything relax. Have a little wiggle. Arms down by your sides. Right, next, where are we going? Just having a little check. Where am I going next? Oh yes, arms. So arms, they're either going up towards the ceiling, or if you're sitting up, they're going forwards. So if you're sitting on a chair, they're forwards. Just give your shoulders a little roll and settle them down. Your arms are fairly relaxed. They're not super straight. We'll come to that. They're just sort of sitting relaxed here, ready to do something. Right, one arm at a time. reach away. So you're either going up towards the ceiling or forwards. And then the other one. So make it longer, reach away. And as you do that, you'll feel it's like your shoulders are going for a little walk. So they're either going for a walk against the mat. They might even be against the back of the chair. It depends if your chair back goes that high. But just take them for a little walk. And then you can either leave your arms here or bring them down. I'm going to leave my arms up, but the shoulders are down. So it's like I'm holding a ball. Now take a breath into your ribs and your back ribs. Accordion lateral breath. Go to the sides. And as you breathe out, a bit of tension on the belly. And you're either going to float your leg up if you're on the mat, or you're going to do a little heel raise if you're sitting down. And then take that down. Breathe in. Breathe it out. Coming up. Keep going with this. The legs are a 90-degree shape. If I'm doing this seated, I could have my arms like this and my legs coming up. I'm just going to the tip of my toe. Or you could float your leg up just so it's like hovering off the floor. And you might find that you want to sit back a little bit. And as long as that's comfortable for you and you're just leaning back and you can feel this area is, it's taking it a little, it's taking control. But as long as that's okay, it's not irritating anything, it's good. Lovely. And then give everything a wiggle. Ease it out. Now, slightly different. We're going to stretch the leg away. So we'll leave the arms down for the moment. They're coming back. But bring your legs to that same position, either your tabletop or just hovering. And now extend it. Make it longer. So if you're lying down, it's going to extend away in the air. And if you're seated, it's going to sort of travel forwards on the floor, just till your leg is straighter. Bring it back and place it down. You can do it with the breath. And extend away. Now bring your arms either forwards or up, depending on your position, and repeat. And you might find that your leg wants to go higher or lower than mine. I'll try a lower one. And the other leg can be pressing down, the foot can be pressing down. We'll go one more each side. Taking my time, and the muscles just can sort of, I just like they're feeling it a little more as I do that rather than rushing. And then let the feet go down and open the arms out like they're just holding a ball that's getting bigger and bigger, and then close them up again and they get straighter. Open them out, they'll curve, let them get wider and wider, and then close them up and straighter. Couple more. Your belly and your back stay the same, but you're feeling your shoulders, it's almost like wings spreading out, and then getting a little closer together at the back. That's it. And one more. And then give yourself a soft hug. So we're not going super tight, just gentle. Take your legs wider. Now, if you're using the floor or the ground or your bed, you can feel yourself roll against it. Keep going with that. We're not going very far, but you can push into your feet as well. And that can be quite nice. You can sort of feel your hips doing it. And if you're seated, I can feel like parts of against my sitting bones. That's it. And my bum just coming away off the chair a little bit. And I'm definitely pushing down into the ground. It really helps to have either non-slip socks or your feet on something that doesn't slip. Just gives you a bit of resistance and traction. Now, if you're lying down, we're going to go onto our fronts, but I'll show the people seated where we're going first. Place your hands somewhere around your forehead. Can be a bit lower if you can't get them up there. And we're going to take an arm out to the side and out to the other side. And you can pull your head back a little bit like we do when we tap our heads and take it back. So you can always do that move. So that's where it's going if you're seated. Keep going. If you're lying down, I'm going to take my cushion away and use my hands up here. Legs straight, and they're not floppy. They're not sort of lying outwards. They have got tension to them. They are active. So they're straight. If I came and give them a little bit of a prod, they'd feel firm. Forehead on the on your hands. You can give your shoulders a roll here. I'm just trying to ignore the foot cramp that's just creeping in. And your gaze, if you open your eyes, is just straight down. We're going to take a breath in. You can breathe that lateral accordion breath into your ribs. And as you breathe out, feel your belly. It's almost like it's trying to sort of come away from something cold on the mat. Lift your head and neck. Now you notice it comes straight up and then it goes down. It's not going very high. What I'm not doing, I'm not taking my head back and sort of squashing my neck. I keep it nice and long. Just lift my head up and down. If it feels like your legs want to go wider, they can do it. If they want to come close, they can do. I'm sort of somewhere in between. And one more. And now let your legs flop. They might want to go wider, and let your bum have a wiggle. So you might be having a wiggle in the chair. You might be having a wiggle on the ground. Now I'm going to show you the seated position next. For the seated position, I'd like your arms up a little higher. So sort of somewhere W-ish. You can see I'm sort of making a W. And I want you to pull down and keep your back straight, and your chest almost feels like it's shining forwards a little bit. So that's the sort of position I'd like you to do. And if you're lying down, you might want a bit of a cushion under your head because you haven't got your hands there this time. I prefer not to. I prefer to squash my nose. We're going to do the same sort of thing lying down. So you can hover your arms, so you can raise them and then pull downwards. But you can imagine even pulling like some ropes or something like an overhead piece of gym equipment, and you're pulling that down so you can clench your fists a little. It can help just with the sort of focus of your mind doing this. Or you can do it on the floor. You can just work them up and down a little so that maybe your elbows lift but your hands stay downwards. Depends what your shoulders are happy with. Legs are active, so they're firm and long. They're not sort of waving out to the side. And if it feels comfortable to lift your head and chest up and do this, you could do. I like to imagine I'm pulling like a bar downwards or a couple of handles, and I'm pulling a rope. And then ease that off. So you might put your head on your hands or your head to one side, your legs wider, and let your bum have a wiggle side to side. And then we're going to take ourselves to a seated position if you're on the floor or on a bed. So you might want to push back and do it that way, or you might roll onto your side, but take your time. And then you're either going to be seated somewhere low, like me, just moving the mat. We can have arms behind, or you can even, if you're close to something, I'm close to this sofa, could even use this sofa. Could even be like this. That's nicer on the shoulders because the arms, on the wrists, not having to push down. So if that's open to you, you can do that. You can see the legs are wider. And we're just going to give them a little move in and out. Now, if you're doing this from a chair, legs are wider. And let them go in and out. The arms haven't got any pressure going down for them, so they could be resting here on the thighs. But you want this wide leg. One can dip and then the other. Or you can take them both together. I quite like them both together. And trying to keep your body facing forwards. I'm coming back to the sofa version. Oh, this feels nice. And then you can either slide your legs forwards. I might sit up a little bit. Or you might lift your leg if you're seated. I want you to do something with the foot. I want you to circle the foot. So get your leg into a comfortable position to circle the foot, or wiggles if you can't circle it. You can do forwards and backwards. That's almost like a wave. And then a circling. And the same with the other side. Oh, it's always the other side that I always hear the clicks from. But it's all good. And now I'm going to move my legs so I'm sitting a little bit more upright. So any position for your legs now. Put some elbow circles. And let your body turn a little as you do this. And then bring yourself back to face the front. Give your shoulders a little wriggle and then take your palms out to the side. Scoop up the air. Breathe in. Breathe out and bring your hands to your chest. Give yourselves a clap. Well done. Well done to your bodies, taking part, being here live, catching up on the recording, whichever it is. I'll see you again next week. Have a good week.